Lying on the center of the East Sea, Vietnam enjoyed great opportunities for trade expansion and socio-economic development on the one hand, but also faces big challenges in the course of national maritime sovereignty protection.
Đây Trường Sa, kia Hoàng Sa, ngàn bão tố phong ba, ta vượt qua, lướt sóng con tàu mang tin.
With more than 3,260 kilometers of coastline running from north to south and thousands of big and small islands, including the two archipelagos of Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa, the sea and islands of this country have been part and parcel of the cause of national defense and building of the Vietnamese people throughout many centuries. From the 10th century AD, Vietnam formally gained back her independence, and from then on, successive Vietnamese feudal courts tried their best to protect the nation's boundaries, coastlines and islands, taking it as one of the most important and sacred tasks. Since the time of the Lý, Trần and Lê dynasties, stretching out to the high sea and protecting the islands were the key components of the national development strategy on their move southwards. Historical records strongly confirm that at least from the 17th century AD, the Nguyễn dynasty had already established sovereignty over and effectively exploited the two archipelagos of Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa when these areas were still terra nullius, or lands not belonging to any country. Apart from conducting production on the two archipelagos, the Vietnamese feudal courts also ensure that Vietnamese and foreign ships passing by the waters here enjoy good safety. These activities show the real unceasing and peaceful exercise of sovereign rights over the archipelagos of Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa by the Vietnamese feudal states in accordance with the international laws of the time. The Kingdom of Đại Việt history of southwards expansion from the kings of the Lê dynasty, the laws of the Trịnh and the Nguyễn, as well as the Nguyễn dynasty 1802-1945, was an unceasing process. In 1628, a civil war broke out between the two lords of the Trịnh and the Nguyễn, leading to a division of the country, with the Trịnh lords in the north and the Nguyễn lords retreating to the south. Under the Nguyễn lords, the navy was strongly developed, marked by the great victory over the Dutch warships in 1644 at the mouth of Giang River. Throughout history, the forefathers of this nation have overcome so many hardships and tests to get to the islands of Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa to broaden the country's boundary. All the traces of the exploration, management and exploitation of Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa Islands by the Vietnamese feudal courts have been recorded in both Vietnamese and foreign historical documents. In the eyes of our ancient people, Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa were considered as one single stretch of land. Ancient maps and texts prepared by Western navigators also show these two archipelagos as one pennant stretch of sand offshore the Vietnamese coasts. The Vietnamese text that described Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa was the Thiên Nam Tứ Chí Lộ Đồ Thư, full map collection of the routes in the south, under the Hồng Đức Atlas prepared by Đỗ Bá in 1686. Đỗ Bá was a native of Big Triệu Commune in Thanh Giang district of Nghệ An province. He taught the prefectural examinations under the year of Dương Đức of King Lê Gia Tông, 1672. By the time of the Qinghua era, 1680-1705, he took an order from Lord King and reside, disguising as a merchant from Lam River to cross to the coastal region of Thuận Quang, now running from Quảng Bình to Phú Yên provinces, and neighboring countries like Chiêm Thành and Chân Lạp, to study the geographical and topographical conditions to develop the national maps and recommend the solutions to conquer the south to Lord Trịnh Cán. The toàn tập Thiên Nam Tứ Chí Lộ Đồ Thư gave a good description of Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa Islands under the name of Golden Sands, as well as the Nguyễn Lord's dispatch of ship teams to this area to collect goods, produce of sand foreign vessels here. The book recorded that there is a stretch of golden sand in the middle of the ocean running approximately 400 miles in length and 20 miles in width, occupying a whole region from the Đại Chiêm river mouth to Sa Vinh river mouth. Whenever there is a southwest wind coming in, merchant ships moving along the inside of the lane used to be stuck in here. Those navigating outside the lane got the same problem when the northeast gusts blew in. Most of the crews were found dead because of hunger and left the goods unattended. The Nguyễn Lords sent a team of 18 vessels every year to this area by the end of the winter to collect these goods, most of which were gold, coins, and ammunition. Document from the 18th century clearly recorded that the Hoàng Sa and Bắc Hải fleet was set up as task forces to perform specific duties given by the king at Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa Islands. The Lord of Nguyễn first set up the Hoàng Sa teams to draw the maps of the area and collect rare sea products, resources and goods from sunken ships in Hoàng Sa. They later also organized similar forces to dispatch to Trường Sa called the Bắc Hải teams. Traces of their activities are found in many written documents, of which the most notable one was the Phủ Biên Tạp Lục, Frontier Chronicles, by Lequidon in the 37th year of the Cảnh Hưng era, 1776, when he was Lord Trịnh Sâm military advisor in Thuận Hóa and Quảng Nam. During his term in this region, Lequidon studied the local cultural and spiritual life, meeting with all sorts of people in each locality he passed by. His book recorded all the events and the solution to them when the scholar cum official came to the localities to pacify the border areas. There are currently 8 versions of the book, 5 archived in the library of the Hannum Institute in Hanoi and the others in France. In its second volume, page from 27A to 29A, the following description was found. An Bình commune of Bình Sơn district in Quảng Ngãi province is near the coast. To its northeast, there are many islands and rocks offshore, numbering up to 130, each separating one from the other for roughly a few hours to a few days' sail. Upon the high rocks and islands, there is fresh water and golden sandy beaches of about 30 miles long, stretching undisturbed by the clear water. On the rock, there are thousands of swallow nests, which are home to tens of thousands of innocent birds that never fear humans. Most of the ships got stuck here under strong winds. In the past, the Nguyễn Lords set up the Hoàng Sa teams with some 70 members each, recruiting people from An Vinh commune, taking turn to go to the islands on 5 small fishing boats from March each year, carrying long sufficient food for 6 months. It usually took them 3 days and 3 nights to reach the islands. The Phổ Biên Tạp Lục was later revised in a more scientific and objective way for incorporation into the bigger set of Đại Việt Sử Ký Tục Biên, a record of the histories of the Đại Việt Kingdom, which was the official historical records prepared by the Historical Office during 1676-1789. The manuscripts of Lê Quý Đôn were now made official. The Đại Việt Sử Ký Tục Biên, as well as other historical documents, were all combined by the Feudal Court History Office established and staffed by the kings themselves. Existing for more than 125 years since the court of King Minh Mạng, 1820 to 1945, this office left many carefully compiled historical and geographical documents. They not only represent historical but also methodological and cultural values shown by the way they were compiled. The success of this office could be seen as a success of the Nguyễn dynasty's cultural and educational policies. To date, many valuable documents by the Nguyễn Court History Office have been published and translated into various languages like French, Chinese, and modern Vietnamese, including such work as Records of Đại Nam, Complete Official History of Vietnam, Story of Đại Nam, Chronology of the Minh Mạng Years, Complete Chronology of Đại Nam, Geographical Notes of Hoàng Việt, Complete Geographical Records of Đại Việt, Geographical Notes of Gia Định, Geographical Records of Phương Đình, Geographical Records of the Đồng Khánh Court. All of these works confirm the Nguyễn dynasty's operation to manage and exploit the two archipelagos of Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa. The Đại Nam Thực Lục Chính Biên, compiled by the Nguyễn Court History Office in 1848, provides a chronology of events taking place under the courts of Gia Long, Minh Mạng, and Thiệu Trị. It recorded King Gia Long's occupation of the Hoàng Sa Islands in 1816 and King Minh Mãng's construction of temple and steles and planting trees on the islands. The king also had the islands mapped. In volume 50 of the work, it is written as follows. In the second lunar month of the year of the pig under the 14th year of Gia Long era, 1815, the king dispatched the Hoàng Sa flotillas headed by Phạm Quang Anh to the Hoàng Sa Islands to explore the route to the high sea. In volume 52 of the work, it is further recorded that in the third month of the spring of the year of the rat under the 15th year of the Gia Long era, 1816, the king sent his navy and the Hoàng Sa flotillas to Hoàng Sa to further explore the routes on the high sea. Volume 104 writes, the king tells the Ministry of Public Works that the island stretch of Hoàng Sa in the territorial water of Quảng Ngãi has the water and the sky mixed in one color, making it hard to verify the water depths and therefore leading to the accidents of merchant ships. It is necessary to prepare vessels to send people there annually to install steles and plant trees so that in the future, when the trees grow up, they would make up a green area easily detectable for ships avoid accident. That would be a deed forever. In another instance, the Brief History of Vietnam, published in the 30th year of the King Tự Đức era, 1877, offers the following description of Vạn Lý Trường Sa. Vạn Lý Trường Sa belonged to the territory of Quảng Ngãi province, from Lý Sơn Islands, alias Ngoại La or Vela by the Tang Chinese. It would take some 3 days sail to reach. In the early time, the great Vietnam country used to recruit youths from the two communes of An Hải and An Vinh to the Hoàng Sa flotillas to send there to collect marine produce. They started their journey in February and returned in August every year. There is a temple roof with ancient tiles and a giant plaque inscribed with 4 letters Vạn Lý Ba Bình, and no one knows when this temple was built. Servicemen and people used to spread plant seeds from the south everywhere around the temple whenever they happened to pass by, so that when the plant grew up, they would make a natural sign for boats. Since the abolishment of the Hoàng Sa flotillas, boats no longer pass by as before. Royal Catalogue of Đại Nam is a complete work on history and politics compiled by the Nguyễn Course in 8 years and published in 1881. It provides a rather complete source of detailed description of all the court's orders and reports throughout 50 years, from the first year of the Gia Long era in 1802 to the fourth year of the Tự Đức era in 1851, as well as the implementation of such orders by the ministries. In its volumes number 207 and 221, the book once and again described the landscapes and rules among the islands of Hoàng Sa and repeat the necessity of dispatching navy, border guards and supervisors from Quảng Ngãi and Bình Định to this area to measure and map the islands, building temples and sovereignty stelae in order to identify the water lanes, directions, positions and lengths of the sea routes in Hoàng Sa. It writes, in the 16th year of the Minh era, 1835, a recommendation was approved allowing the province of Quảng Ngãi to build a temple in Hoàng Sa using a stone design at the southwest end of the white sand bank with a stone stele to its left, a 0.6 meter high and 0.5 meter wide, a windscreen to the front and trees planted to the left and right and the back. The brief official history of the royal court, another historical work of the Nguyễn dynasty, compiled in the 9th year of the Khải Định era, 1924, referred to a legendary figure, a Phạm Hữu Nhất from Lý Sơn Island. In its 3rd volume, Phạm Hữu Nhất was sad to receive an order from the court. The king orders Navy Commander Phạm Hữu Nhất to take his troops to Quảng Ngãi and go direct to Hoàng Sa to take measurements of the length, width, height, and perimeters of all the islands and sandbanks, irrespective of whether or not there is a sandbank or shoal nearby, as well as to describe their topographical conditions, their nearest river mouths, distant from the mainland, and the nearest localities on the mainland. Every detail must be well recorded. All the islands must be marked by wooden poles and mapped to report to the court. Also, in connection with the dispatch of Phạm Hữu Nhất to Hoàng Sa, a royal order dated the 17th year of Minh era, 1836, has the writing of King Minh, which says, the Ministry of Public Works reports that after the notice by the Cabinet to the relevant authorities, the boats have been sent to Hoàng Sa, each carrying 10 wooden poles of about 2 meters long and 0.05 meters thick, inscribed with the letters 17th year of the King Minh era. In the year of the monkey, the Navy commanders took the order to travel to Hoàng Sa to survey and install the markers. Under this order, the commander to Hoàng Sa will be Phạm Hữu Nhất. The outstanding feature in Vietnam's sovereignty profile are the authentic evidences about the management and exploitation of Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa by the Vietnamese feudal state, recorded in the administrative documents archived at Vietnam Central Archive No. 1. bearing the handwriting of the kings of Vietnam. The implementation of the King's order on the recruitment of crew and preparation for the Hoàng Sa teams is shown in the report dated the 15th of the 4th lunar month of the 15th year of the Minh Mạng era, co-prepared by the Quảng Ngãi provincial treasurer and judge, clarifying the names and home villages of each of the Hoàng Sa flotillas as follows. Under Your Majesty's order, the Ministry has requested the province to prepare and renovated 3 big ships ready at the capital for the envoys and navymen to join in for the exploration of Hoàng Sa. We also asked Vũ Văn Hưng, who was recruited from the previous year, and some other seamen who had good knowledge about the sea routes to serve on the ships. Each ship had 8 sailors and 24 labourers, taking the good wind in March to quickly sail out to the sea. To date, all the preparations are ready and the envoy have arrived. Taking into account the reasonable analysis of Vũ Văn Hưng on the recruitment of men, we decided to issue the permits to the experienced seamen headed by Đặng Văn Xiêm to man the ships, showing the way to the sailors brought in by the envoys, the Navy and Vũ Văn Hưng to travel to Hoàng Sa to perform the tasks. This journey has an extraordinary importance and therefore everyone must show the highest servitude. This journey has an extraordinary importance and therefore everyone must show the highest servitude. All recklessness will severely be punished. All the crew members have been listed in the attached annex. The ship drivers, that is Đặng Văn Xiêm and a native of An Hải Ward in Bình Sơn district and Dương Văn Đinh from Hoa Diêm hamlet, have been licensed to carry out the order. The report was also an administrative document confirming the information provided in the Nguyễn Court's historical records on Vũ Văn Hưng, a person who had visited Hoàng Sa many times. The report was discovered by researcher in April 2009 at the ancestral altar of the Đặng family in An Hải village of Lý Sơn Island district in Quảng Ngãi province. After 175 years of conservation, the family decided to donate this precious document to the government in order to assist the national cause of national sovereignty protection.
Phải nói rằng là hầu hết các dòng họ trên đất đảo Lý Sơn đều có.
Almost all families in Lý Sơn Island had their ancestors going to the Parasols and Spratlys many centuries ago, many of whom were supervisors, chief of marine troops or flotillas captains, especially under the dynasties of Tây Sơn, Gia Long, Minh Mạng, Thiệu Trị, Tự Đức. Many Parasols and Spratlys goers became popular, such as Vũ Văn Phu, Vũ Văn Khiết, Phạm Hữu Nhất, Phạm Văn Nguyên, Phạm Văn Biên, Phạm Quang Anh. All the families of those have kept documents relating to the Parasols and Spratlys, given their full awareness that their ancestors had rendered great services by claiming land, demarcating and installing sovereignty stelae on those distant islands. Having access to the report of Đặng family, we were extremely touched to find that the content of this 4-page document was fully consistent with the writing in Nguyễn Dynasty history books such as Đại Nam Thực Lục, Khâm Định Đại Nam Hội Điển Sử Lệ, Quốc Triều Chính Biên Toát Yếu, Nguyễn Dynasty Royal Records, etc. It can be said that this report is of great significance and extremely important to the assertion of Vietnam's sovereignty over the Parasols and Spratlys Islands.
Hết sức đặc biệt quan trọng đối với việc góp phần khẳng định chủ quyền lãnh thổ của đất nước Việt Nam chúng ta trên cái vùng đảo Hoàng Sa và Trường Sa của Tổ quốc.
To members of the Hoàng Sa's flotillas, those who accomplished their duties would be awarded, while those committing mistakes would receive the coarse punishments as described by the report dated the 13th of the 7th lunar month of the 16th year of the Minh Mạng era, 1835 as follows. Team leader Phạm Văn Nguyên was sent to Hoàng Sa, but procrastinated on his return. Therefore, the king made an order to have him punished by the ministry. However, after the interrogation, it was revealed that he also showed signs of corruption. All the team completed the tasks very well and carefully and should be awarded, except for team leader Phạm Văn Nguyên, show arrogance and extravagance upon his return unworthy of his status, and was therefore dismissed from his positions and fettered. The king asked the ministry to spank him with 80 canes, but later revoked his decisions and reinstated his former post. Other dealing with the mapping of the area, like Supervisor Trần Văn Vân, Nguyễn Văn Tiên, Nguyễn Văn Hoang, had not been able to produce accurate maps, also received a punishment of 80 canes, but were all pardoned. Guide Vu Văn Hưng and Phạm Văn Seng were awarded with small silver dragon coins, and others in the team were awarded with 600 coins and were posted back to their former units. Laborers recruited from the provinces were also awarded with 600 coins each, except for the 2 people previously awarded. The reason for other Hoàng Sa flotillas' inability to make their excursion to Hoàng Sa due to bad weather were also reflected in the documents dated the 2nd of the 4th leap month of the 19th year of the Minh-Mạng era 1838 as follows. Under Your Majesty's order, the measurement of Hoàng Sa was scheduled in the later half of the 3rd month, yet wind shear and water flow were not good enough to make it. As such, our ministry suggested the deadline should be extended to the late half of the 4th month. I hereby report by facts. King Minh-Mạng was extremely fond of sea and island affairs. The course dispatch of measurements of flotillas to the archipelagos of Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa was recorded at the report dated 21st of the 6th month of the 19th year of the Minh-Mạng era, 1838, as follows. Our flotilla has reached 25 islands in 3 zones. 12 islands were discovered each year except for the 13th one. Of the 4 areas I reported by navigator Vu Văn Hưng, 3 were surveyed. The only one left was located south and far away from the others. Due to strong southern wind, potentially long delay until the wind is weaker, we suggested that the survey should be commenced by next year. In reviewing the 4 maps recorded, we noted that they were drawn on each particular area, one drawn on the whole 3 areas, and an unfinished diary. As such, I hereby seek Your Majesty's permission to double-check those documents and urge the submission of the finished products. Hence, the management and exploration of Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa archipelagos were conducted by Hoàng Sa and Bắc Hải flotillas during the Lê Nguyễn dynasties. The crews were recruited carefully, paid and managed by the court. All changes that might affect the survey and measurements of those 2 archipelagos must get the king's permission. These are official court documents bearing the king's seal and handwritings in red ink. Woodblock, a special resource in the archives on Vietnam's sovereignty over the archipelagos of Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa. Woodblocks of the Nguyễn dynasty were carved wooden plates used for printing historical literature and documents ratifying by the king. They were made during the operation of the National History Office of the Nguyễn dynasty in Huế, including those transferred from the Temple of Literature in Hanoi. Under the reign of King Minh-Mạng and King Thiệu Chi, woodblocks were archived at the Temple of Literature in Huế. They were moved to Dalat since 1960, of which 30,000 were stored at the 4th National Archives of Vietnam in Dalat. The collection of wood blocks of the Nguyen dynasty won UNESCO's recognitions as a memory of the world in 2009. As such, the Nguyen dynasty's archives won international recognitions, which consolidates Vietnam's legal and historical evidences of her sovereignty over the archipelagos of Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa. At present, the Chinese Nome Research Institute is archiving a large number of books left over by our ancestors, either in ancient Chinese or Nome scripts, generally called Chinese Nome books. We have collected more than 5,000 Chinese Nome books, many of which may have been ample copies, not including those collected by the Chinese Nome Institute since 1958. This is a large quantity of books featuring many aspects of our country's life over more than 1,000 years, even back to 2,000 years ago. With regard to Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa, the Chinese Nome Institute is keeping 150 to 160,000 related copies on the archipelagos. What we want to stress is that those documents are legally valid. It can be seen that the sovereignty over and economic exploitation of these islands had drawn the attention of our ancestors and carried out by them since long. That has been written in many history books and has legal value.
Thì trong cái số sách này riêng về cái tính chất của sách này thì có những sách thì là in, nhà nước in hoặc tư nhân in. Đó là những cái bản mà chúng tôi cho là rất quý. Nhưng mà điều ở đây chúng tôi muốn nói nhiều nhất ấy, tức là những cái tư liệu mà nó mang cái chất quan phương, nó có giá trị về cái vấn đề tức là pháp lý. Và từ đó có thể thấy được tức là cái Trường Sa, Hoàng Sa đấy, về mặt chủ quyền, về mặt sử dụng những cái của cải vật chất ở trên đó, cái kinh tế trên đó, thì ông cha ta đấy có thể nói là đã chú ý từ lâu và đã khai sách từ sớm. Cái đó được ghi vào những cái sách mà hiện nay rất có giá trị về phương diện tức là pháp lý.
Those evidences were stored under forms of ancestral tablets, bronze bells, and genealogies of families at worship places in provinces. In November 2011, research scholars discovered an ancestral tablet at Thiêng Pagoda, Thừa Thiên Huế province. The letters engraved in the tablet were Đại Việt Cổ Hiển Linh, Hoàng Sa Đội Cai Đội Hiến Đức Hầu Nguyễn Quý Công Chi Vị, which mean the ancestral tablet of Captain Marquis Nguyễn Quý Công, commander of Hoàng Sa flotilla of the sacred Đại Việt. Another bronze bell dated the 4th year of the Minh Mạng era, 1823, was founded in the Nguyễn Hữu family, in which the latter engraved were Cai Đội Niên Trường Hầu Nguyễn Hữu Niên, Captain Marquis Nguyễn Hữu Niên. Last but not least, an ordainment of the Gia Long era was discovered, of which the content were the appointment of Nguyễn Hữu Niên as the Captain Marquis. Nguyễn Hữu Niên belonged to the 9th generation of the Nguyễn Hữu family, which now counted for 15 generations. Hence, both titles matched. Once again, this was the proof of the birth, existence and operation of the Hoàng Sa flotilla, which was set up and ordained by the king to act on behalf of the royal court in exploring and managing Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa archipelagos. Another petition was found at the Vo family's ancestral altar in An Vinh Ward, West Living Commune, Lý Sơn District, Quảng Ngãi Province. The petition dated the 15th of the first month of 1775 by Captain Hà Liêu of Cù Lao Ré Island, An Vinh Commune, regarding the reorganization of the Hoàng Sa flotilla. It says, our commune had owned 2 flotillas of Hoàng Sa and Quê Hương. In the year of the goat, 1631, Commander Vo He submitted the permissions on creating 2 more flotillas of Đại Mao Hai Ba and Quê Hương Ham with 30 men recruited. This material indicates that the Nguyễn laws initially established one 70-man strong Hoàng Sa flotilla. Later, Quê Hương flotilla was founded. In